Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the top 5 best SMGs in Borderlands 4. There have been a lot of SMGs added to the game since its launch, with the most recent Raid Boss 2 adding in 4 new pearlescent weapons. There's a lot to break down here, and since my last video on this topic, there's been a lot of changes. SMGs also got a lot of buffs across the board, so we'll be exploring all of that in this video, and we'll be first starting off with some honorable mentions. And guys, a lot has changed. The Chaosin, which was one of the best, has been nerfed heavily, with torque stickies no longer being as good as they used to be. Also in the honorable mentions is the new Screwstonian. This is great for mobbing because it creates singularities on the enemies, but it just does not keep up on the higher difficulty levels. One of my favorites, the Plasma Coil, is an honorable mention. I've had some people argue with me saying this is the best SMG in the game, but you'll see why it's not. And also the Oh My God. Now you may be surprised because this thing is extremely good, but SMGs across the board are the second best, I would say, weapon category behind shotguns. There's just a lot of really good ones. And also things like the Burt's Bees, which recently their underbarrels did get nerfed as well. And another new pearlescent weapon, the Parasite. So here is the Plasma Coil here. So it shoots Maliwan orbs there. It comes in just the shock and radiation damage. This weapon is fine. It does shoot if you don't have any projectile speed increases. It will be a little bit slow in terms of the damage. I love Maliwan guns, and this one is solid. It just does not keep up compared to some of the others. Here's the Screwstonian. Now, whenever you shoot 4 bursts, it'll then change up its reloads, or change up its fire rate there. And you can see there's singularities that are popping off from the enemy there, making this a great gun for mobbing, but some of the other pearlescents boast a lot higher damage in general. And the Chaosin. Now, torque stickies can no longer go infinite, and that's why this thing is no longer a first place choice. That's because it's only going to be able to scale up to 200% extra gun damage, and compared to the rest of them here, it just does not compete. As you're seeing, nothing super crazy here. Previously, you could do it like the bod and do some insane damage. Right now, it's really just a shell of its former self. Still an okay weapon though, but just not compared to the others. And the Oh My God. Now this, if you have an overshield, does some insane damage. You can see there, it's actually like a melter of a gun, but this does have downsides, and that's why it's staying out of the top 5 when we have others that just don't have downsides and can counter a lot of other situations, as this is a shock only weapon, meaning it's great if you're fighting Vault Boss or Ego, but the new raid bosses, this has a lot of fire health bars, so this does not really make a big difference. Again, I do want to stress that the Oh My God is an amazing weapon. It's just we have so many good ones here. Here's the Parasite, which you shoot off locust rockets, and that's going to scale up the damage. One thing that I found very disappointing is that those locusts don't work like they do against like Idolate or Soul, which would have made this weapon actually interesting and a contender for one of the best SMGs. But the fact that it does not rip apart that infinite shield makes it kind of lackluster. I really wish that they change it and make it work like that, as it's a pearlescent weapon. It should be pretty solid, but you see there, kind of lackluster damage. And the Burt's Bees, this thing will automatically have those bees that home in on the enemies, like in Nicolas Cage's head. But unfortunately, they've nerfed the underbarrel flamethrower from being an infinite damage scaler to not being that great, so it is no longer on our top 5. So for our 5th place weapon, we have the Falca. This is actually a reference to a boss from the Signalis game, and also it means falcon in German, but this thing is an insane weapon. You can get Jacob's, shotgun loader, and the Ripper part on it. That's obviously like a great roll for any gun that can have it. It can come with any type of element here, as you can see. You can also get it without elements, and even without the shotgun loader, there is a 30k DPS version of this. I just have not been able to find this, and this is at level 60 if you're watching from the future. But it is crazy. It has 3 bullets per shot, which comes out looking like this. So it is a little bit harder to aim with because of that. It's not going to be straight down the center, but whenever you have the shotgun loader on it, it does some pretty crazy damage. As you can see, we'll go against the boss. And I'm going against Corporal Brennan here just to keep everything as consistent as possible to showcase these weapons. Now, this weapon is crazy for a variety of reasons. Shotgun loaders obviously are very good because with certain characters, that's a multi-hit weapon. So things like Confirmative Reality on Harlow here, it gives her action skill back literally immediately. It also has that very wide shot, so you do want to keep at like a mid to close range with it. But the damage from this thing is just so crazy good. That is it in the shotgun mode there. Now, you will notice a trend in Borderlands 4. If a thing has a shotgun loader, that is typically going to be the best possible roll for it, unless we're talking the bod, which is a shotgun. So yeah, you want to find it with the shotgun loader, but I'll also show it here without that. So here's the plain Jane, just regular SMG version, and you can see it still does amazing amounts of damage. I really like these shotgun swappers because Subjugator and Full the Invincible have huge health bars which require you to burn through your ammunition. So having an option that's still good in its SMG form is really great. This is because it's shooting at those 3 bursts, so the time to kill, as you can see, is pretty similar. So yeah, between the two of these, having a Ripper part, having Jacobs, this thing is just going to tear through everything that you throw at it. So that's why this is our 5th place weapon. We actually have some pretty insane weapons. As I mentioned, the SMGs across the board is probably the 2nd strongest category of weapon. The assault rifles are obviously pretty good too with the Crow Source. I did a video on the top 5 yesterday if you want to check that out, linked in the comments. But what this thing has going for it, lots of elemental coverage. It also has a very high damage if you don't want to go with the elemental one, and there is one that has over 30k DPS, just want to mention that as well again. But yeah, this thing just very versatile, strong, and fun to use. I really like Ripper weapons, and that's not the only Ripper we'll see on this list, because our next weapon looks pretty identical to the last one. So there's the Falker, there's the Jailbroken Gatling, number 4. This just got released in the raid boss too. This is always going to come with a shotgun loader. You got to get this pearlescent from Subjugator and Thol, and I recommend just fighting Thol for that one. As a pearlescent weapon though, it has a big advantage over the Falker. It's able to swap damage types. So against certain bosses like the one I'm going against, having a shock into corrosive is great because that means you don't have to swap your gun at all. Having also the shotgun loader and the SMG one gives you options in combat. But what you're going to see, this has a lower DPS card. You see it as like 10k, 13k. The best I think is this 13,688 for my testing and what I found. And what makes this great is its special ability. On hit, you gain a stack of backfire, and each stack gains increased fire rate and increased chance to fire off additional projectiles. There's a lot of characters in this game that want multi-projectile guns, so that helps a lot. But that elemental override just makes this so versatile. And it shoots really, really fast, so that's really where this thing shines, and it's a fun weapon to use as well. So here it is in combat. I love the pearlescent bullet trails that it leaves. They look really cool. And also, yeah, it just does a lot of damage. The Jacobs part, Ripper part, everything about this thing, it shreds. And you can see there, it is clearing this boss a lot quicker than the Falker was. And the Falker is actually a very powerful weapon. So yeah, you see it there. Shotgun mode, lots of lines on your screen. And we'll run it back now with the SMG version. I slightly prefer the shotgun version, but kind of similar to the Falker, it's still going to rip in its SMG form. SMGs just shoot really quickly here, and that allows a lot of characters, like Cash in particular, Glum to Glow, to get insane amounts of damage off with this thing. It's a fun new weapon. I'm actually glad they added so many new SMGs because one of my favorite categories of weapon in the Borderlands series, and they did it justice with a lot of these releases. This has I really love the lines that fly through your screen like that, so you can do some pretty silly stuff with this weapon. Rippers typically are pretty solid in this game. Fast fire rate is winners. When they deal like a lower amount of damage but increase the fire rate even further, and with the shotgun loader and Jacobs, the Jailbroken Gatling is just a very solid weapon across the board. Fun to use and strong as well. 2 Ripper back to back. And why not another back-to-back? We have another pearlescent here, so from the Jailbroken Gatling to Juliet Sparkle. This thing, I love it. It's very strong. I actually did a full-on video on this thing where I compared and went down to I talked about the time to kill on each of these. This thing shreds. This can also come with a shotgun loader, but it can come with a lot of other, like any other type of ammo loaders. Its special ability has a 33% chance for stars to fall that'll deal a variety of different damage. So sometimes you get a 3703 version, sometimes you get, if you get the best possible damage roll, 5742. Just want to clear that up because some people are commenting on my last video saying that you can get some that have higher damages. It's not a static amount of damage. It's dependent on the card damage. So the best possible roll is the 20k 16 here. If you have one that's lower, it's still going to be good. But I found with a lot of these pearls, some of them have a very large variance in the damage. Like you got 12k. I'm pretty sure I had a 10 or 11k, but I think I ended up selling it. So yeah, you want to look out for the highest possible damage on one of these things, but they shred. I really enjoy this weapon. It's strong, and you're going to see. It also is kind of like the rainbow vomit in terms of the effects it leaves on the ground. But yeah, this thing is actually really good. So we'll first show it in its shotgun form here. Yeah, you can see this thing is ripping and tearing. Another thing I want to mention that I am using Infinite Crit Harlow here just so that I don't accidentally get more headshots in a certain run and make this look a little bit better. So I'm trying to keep everything as consistent as possible, but you see it there, shredded his health bar very quickly. This thing is awesome. And that was it in the shotgun mode, so here it is in the SMG mode. You get more stars that fall on the enemy if you use the SMG or the shotgun form, just more bullets that'll hit it. But yeah, you see those stars that are falling down. You see the rainbow paint that's going on the ground here. It's a very, very powerful weapon. It's a fun one to use as well. I'm just swapping off to the elemental typing there because I don't have the ones shock and corrosive. But yeah, this thing is very strong, as you can see right there. It is fun and just powerful. So yeah, there's the little rainbow splatters that you get, similar to the rainbow vomit. Cool effects. I like the different unique weapons like this. And it actually shoots stars. You can blink and miss it. That is the best that I could do in photo mode. But yeah, it's shooting stars for real. And yeah, the fact that this is third place just goes to show how powerful SMGs have gotten in Borderlands 4. I think it's awesome. These weapons are really fun. Now, second place is actually my favorite SMG, but I do think our first place weapon is slightly better in some situations. But the Dark Beast, I've had people argue with me that this gun sucks. It's amazing. Its bullets will naturally pierce, which means you don't have to use high caliber 3. What's great about that, it's, in my opinion, the best weapon to use against Bloom Reaper the Invincible, because you can line up 2 of the crystals, and this also will have a 20% chance to explode, meaning it has splash damage, which is great against Bloom Reaper's crystals. On top of that, it used to be only a 5% chance for them to explode, and this used to do a lot less damage. It shoots 2 bullets per shot, and on top of that, it can also come with a Maliwan swapper. My personal preference though, shotgun loader, obviously very strong. And the best possible role for this thing has the Ripper, Jacobs, and Daedalus shotgun loader. So even you don't have to look for the Ripper. I find it fine without. I actually didn't like using the Ripper for quite a while just because it does have a windup, but it shreds. And interestingly enough, adding on the Ripper part actually adds quite a bit to the actual damage of this gun. And here's the shock version just to showcase how powerful this is. Now, the explosions will do splash damage as well, meaning that like Rafa actually gets a huge benefit from using them. So that is great. It is just a very powerful weapon for the piercing effect. It explodes. It kind of does a bit of everything that not even stuff you'd want in an SMG. Here's the shotgun version. It's going to melt this insanely fast, as you see right there. Shotgun Ripper, crazy. In fact, you can just use the shotgun version of it, and it's just so much damage that you can see there. It's even melting through the blue health bar, and this is a corrosive version of it. It has that elemental swapper if you want, but yeah, this thing is absolutely deadly. It's honestly, I would put this number 1, but I know a lot of people think that my number 1 is something a little different. You really do want that shotgun loader on it, and that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because having multiple elements is also really nice, but this is corrosive locked unless you get that, and then you lose out on the shotgun loader, which is obviously something you really do want. Now, numbers 1 and 2 are actually really close here. On my assault rifle version, number 1 was so far above the rest of them, but here it really comes down to personal preference. You can use any of these top 5 weapons and have a very good result with them. But number 1, Flash Cyclone. This thing is just crazy. It's a Maliwan, comes with Jacobs, comes with Ripper. It seems amazing. It doesn't come with a shotgun, but this is the highest possible damage, 2220 at level 60 here. And you can even get another version of it that has less damage, but a faster fire rate. So I personally prefer the faster fire rate version, this one on cash. So that's where god rolls don't always matter, because sometimes having a little bit of a difference makes a big difference for certain characters. But the thing with this is it has a chance to explode on hit and spawn additional projectiles. Now, it's not listed on this, but it'll actually shoot at a 50% fire rate and scale up to its normal 100% over 3 seconds. So it does start a little bit slow, but it's very powerful. It also does splash damage, which is great. And you can see that by inspecting the stats there. It has a 35 centimeter range to it. So anything that gets splash damage scaling like Rafa will get a big benefit here. And it doesn't list the chance on hit, but it's a 5% chance, so somewhat similar to the pre-buff Dark Beast. And it'll deal 800% gun damage on those explosions and send off projectiles that hit multiple targets, dealing 200% gun damage. So powerful. And here's what it looks like here. So obviously Cryo is not very effective against a shock health bar, but you see it there. It's doing considerable amounts of damage. It's just a RNG kind of gun, but it scales up in its fire rate there. This thing shreds. Cryo is really good too, because it's going to slow down enemies as well. Now Cryo is better against the armor there, so you see it starts to melt. This thing is insane. And from all the benchmarking I've done, this thing is consistent against a lot of bosses. The splash damage means it's great against Bloom Reaper the Invincible. This is good against everything. Getting splash damage on top of this is nice. The Dark Beast only has it on certain shots, but this is just consistently going to be a very powerful, amazing gun. And you see the health bar tripping away. That's getting that 5% chance to do that extra damage. And yeah, this thing does shred. best SMG in the game, but very close second is the Dark Beast here. So let me know your favorite SMG in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. A lot of time and effort goes into testing and doing all this, so let me know what Borderlands 4 content you guys want to see next, and I hope you guys all have a great day. Catch you in the next one.